Days Volt, my fellow gamers. Here I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the the Reaver Calvary. So it took me a little while to get this one completed. I still have some liquid green stuff chilling in the wings there. Now, this one I made up like a vampire lord, like, a champion or whatever, kind of a guy. But he's on his newer, thicker bases. These are actually the same size as the infantry base, the same thickness as the infantry plastic bases they come with for Mantic games. And I still need to do a little bit in that, in the cape area. So, man, the horse body itself was one that the previous owner had tried to deal with the rustic stuff. I mean, it was all kinds of white. The rustic stuff, like, it will fold over when you're scraping it or whatnot. The material will fold over and it will become like an opaque white. And you have to keep attacking that until it detaches itself from the parent plastic or rustic. And there was a bunch of white here. There was a bunch of all kinds of nastiness. And what I did, I used this, which I don't like as much as the Tamiya because its scent is way more robust. It's like a fingernail polish remover, but it's plastic glue. So, but I used this to smooth out all the white areas and whatnot. The liquid green stuff is just in there to fill gaps, and then I would go over that with the round file, smooth that on over, and then go over those file markings with the X-Acto, and then go over the X-Acto markings with the glue to smooth everything right down. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But these horses are a true test. They are wretched to build. I really didn't like the Wraith models. I infinitely don't like these horse models. These mounts are just terrible. When they're assembled, they look decent. There's still a seam there, and I'll do more green stuff there. I initially had the horse's head off so that I could get all these pieces and stuff, and I didn't have the horse mounted. But me, in my impetuous nature, I wanted to see what it looked like all assembled, and it looks great. I love the weight of it. I love the metal model on top with these chunky capes. Love those capes. So yeah, so I have one done, and they are true nightmares. Of course, you could see with the base here, I cut off the Army Man's base. A big old gray piece of junk there. Just cut that off. It means you have a nice, clean look to it. You're going to be able and present a nicer basing when you go down to flock, put leaves, ballast, real rocks, whatever you want, or pumpkins. So, you'll have a nice, cleaner base there instead of having that weird lump, which will have this transition piece. You'll have that transition hill moundy thing. That's just straight strange. So I think that model companies put these weird bases or even the straight tabs on there just to keep the legs from deforming when they are pulled from the molds. Is to try to keep the legs straight in line. And for the most part, these are. Out of the whole batch, I only got this wonka-jawed one right there. You see how twisted that is? Not nice at all. You can see how she doesn't want to fit on the base. But once you cut everything off, this one hoof, which will be the connection point, will fit just fine. One marked thing, which makes me want to cry, actually. Let me see. I've separated these. Okay, here we've got two different body halves. Okay, and you'll notice the main thing that drew my attention to it is the saddles. one saddle will have these ridges, the other saddle will be smooth. That's really the only differentiating piece to them, aside from the placement of the back hoof. This one's more forward, this one's more back. But you look at those saddles. So the saddles do matter. The saddles will match up with the other halves. So that half fits right nice right there. Okay, you see the two grooves inside? So they'll fit really good together. Now, and that's the same guy that I have here. And I assembled him for a reason. Most of my bodies are the smooth saddles, which makes me want to cry, because when you put them together, they have this serious gap that's in there. That one doesn't look so bad. Maybe I'll just keep this one together as is. It's not so bad. That one's not bad. Actually, that's pretty awesome. I will keep that one together. It'll be the next one I build, even though it falls apart. Most of these bad boys will have, here, see, there it is. See, maybe it's because of this, that hoof down there. Yeah, it's the hoof's fault, wanting to sit. See how it's not sitting properly in on this smooth rounded base? It's another reason why you got to take these bases off, so these will fit much more better. All of them that I found have this huge gap, and you see that in the front? It's very pronounced. Doesn't look that bad. Like right there, it looks fine, but in the front, very, very bad. It's almost 1/4 of an inch. If you look on these models, they have a little mark there, and that is for this back hoof to fit in. That back hoof fits in that mark, and then you get a nice fit, because they're like, okay, these weren't fitting in, so let's fit them. But my honest opinion and my honest advice to give you guys is just cut these big army men bases off and let them stand on their own accord. They will do just fine. This is 3 connection points, so 3 hooves are on the ground. Let me see. This is going to be 2 connection points, the 2 back hooves, which is still completely fine. It's going to hold this rotten restic model together, and it's going to hold it on the base just fine, even with the metal model sitting on it. Now, talking about metal models, okay, another thing that I learned when putting these jokers together is that when you set Homeboy down here, his legs are actually, see, I gotta deal with it, but his legs are actually far off of the mount. They're hanging off to the side, really. It's kind of goofy. So what you want to do, see, he's nice and tight on each side. You have to bend the feet in. You got to press them in. And you'll probably want to do that without all this stuff glued in, because the pressure you might apply might break these things off inadvertently. So yeah, you just go down here and squeeze while he's mounted. You could do it as he's curing. If you have glue on his base where he meets the saddle, you set him down there, let him cure, and just press the crap out of these things and have him hug the sides. You don't want their feet flared out. It's kind of goofy. When you hold on to a horse, you hold on with your thighs, okay? And you apply pressure where your knees are at to hold on to that mount. That's, like this guy, I try to make it to where it was kind of feasible. He could be holding onto reins there with the shield arm. It's all about trying to break the veil and make these things look realistic, but it's a vampire riding a horse. How realistic is that? But anyway, so long and short, nightmare to clean the horses. It takes a long time to get all the mold lines. You can see the mold line just running through it, all over it. Up here is a bit of a saving grace. When you get up to the top here, the mold line, it goes, okay, so we've got the mold line here. It goes on the inside a little bit, and then up above this piece of armor a little bit, and then it rides the ridge. So it goes all along here, riding along the top of this, riding this ridge. So it's the same as the ridge, okay? And then when it gets to the tail, it breaks out and it goes along the edge of the tail there, okay? And then down the flank, down the legs. Then this is a terrible area here for it. You see that pronounced mold line. And it's terrible because it is kind of angular and pretty visible. So what you're going to do is when you're scraping your X-Acto knife, you're going to make all these little bitty lines where the X-Acto knife is actually bumping on this extremely hard surface. And that you can melt a little bit with the glue yonder, Mr. Cement, or the Tamiya Extra Thin Cement. But where it rides the ridge, you don't have to touch it, because when you join the two pieces, you're going to be putting in your green stuff, liquid green stuff, or putty, whatever you're going to use, and you're going to smooth those out at the same time. So this top ridge you don't have to worry about. Same with the neck ridge here. It's all part of the same. So this section of the horse you don't have to mess with. It's all up and down the legs and this tail part that you got to mess with. And that's such a pain, because it's not just one half you got to deal with. It's two halves you have to deal with. The joy. So to get one model, you have to clean those two, and then the extremely angular and difficult head. And this is a joy of its own self, because the mold line goes up the nose. This piece of armor stops here, and then it branches off to the ears. Thank you, Mantic. Thank you. So it branches off into two mold lines. Yay! And they come down from the ears, and then one mold line goes down the back armor. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So, yeah. Just be aware of the saddles do make a difference. Smooth saddle to smooth saddle goes together, whereas the saddle with ridges is its own horse. It takes a lot to clean these. I'm not going to go the Dremel route. That's just not how I roll. I'm not going to. A Dremel, it travels. You can have variable RPMs and stuff like that. I understand that. But I don't like things that can take you beyond the point of no return extremely fast. These horses are expensive. These sets of Reaver Knights are expensive, and it's mostly due to the metal components. So yeah, I want to take my time. I want to make sure it's done right. That's just how you should do everything in life. Make sure it's done right. Take your time with it. Don't rush it, man. Enjoy it. That's part of this hobby, is to try to enjoy it. This is more of a grind. Now, when these guys are together and all looking sexy all together in a metal chunky unit, it's just awesome, then that's when you're gonna really look back and go, man, this is really nice. But getting there is the struggle. And yeah, I've got a mound of getting there, and then here's the other bodies right there. So I have some time ahead of me. What's nice though, I love metal. So when I struggle and fight with one of these horse bodies, and what I would normally do is do all the horse bodies at once. When you build a house, you build from the ground up. So you gotta have the horse before you do the rider. So what I would normally do is just build all the horses. Hard plastic horses are excellent for that. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with garbage. So what I do to treat myself is, after I get the horse, do the rider. The rider, easy to file, easy to manipulate the metal, smooth it down, make it nice. and you plop them right on top of the horse, and you feel accomplished. You feel good. So yeah, that's about all she wrote. And this will be the last video for these guys until I get them all done up. And I think even when I finish them, I'm not gonna, until I paint them, which won't be too hard. Now, let's take a small look. I'm gonna go around here. Okay. I want to get rid of the glare. So, I finished my Mega Army allotment of Revenants. Okay, and it's pretty cool. I like the bits that come with them. They come with the bursting skeleton from the tomb and the giant dog / rat model. So they come with some cool bits in there as well. I have already taken care of the 40 skeletons that came in there initially, and there's my standard bearer right there. He doesn't fit in with the guys. And what I chose to do, they have this fantastic head of this crow picking stuff off of the skeleton, so I put him on there instead of the vulture that I was planning on putting on, because it's meant for that head to slot in. It's the perfect size for it, and I really like that head. I just think it's amazing. So he's the one that's outside of the case, or else I would have a giant, I say case, it's this big old army case. So yeah, I've got him. I need to transfer my skeletal dog and handler to one of the cavalry bases I just got, and I need to redo the bases on a lot of the stuff I previously built, because I'm going to go with this this flock and autumn leaves and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to go with. Just going to take care of them that way. So I have a fair few units that need to be fixed. But yeah, aside from what's in this case, I do have 40 skeletons. I do have a few zombies, like 10 zombies I think, and I've got like the Ghoulghast. I do have that metal character. So just working on the cavalry now, just to put some horses up here, because it makes it feel like you're doing it if you've got some cavalry models built up. But anyway, you guys take it easy. Carry a liaison.